It's not just about the steps, it's about the movement. And I think that gets lost in the classroom because people again get so stuck in the mirror and so stuck into looking at themselves they forget the art of it. And that's what I mean by first of all, anybody now can call themselves a choreographer. You know, it's one of the questions that I posed on a website. Well, what makes these people choreographers? Because if that's the case, I have a 14-year-old daughter. She can be a choreographer too. She can make up steps. She knows how to dance. She actually knows the terminology to hip hop. So what's the difference? So that's why I said that. It's like, you know, again, when you teach a class, what are you teaching? Are you teaching random movement, or is there vocabulary anywhere? Do the steps have names? Do they have a history behind them? Are there mechanics to them? I mean, that's what's lost. When we did hip hop, we knew what the steps were. When we started doing something, I didn't have to just go through the choreography. I could just call out the steps, and they knew what to do. I mean, that's lost now. When you go into a class, what are you learning? I've asked people coming into class, well, show me what you learned. Tell me what you learned. And they're like, I don't know. I learned 5, 6, 7, 8. I was like, how does that apply to what you're doing? Is it, you know, just random movement? Then we can call it aerobics. Take away the music and it's just aerobics. But take away the music from the steps and there are no steps in hip hop. You know, you can still, when you look at the movement, you can see where the movement comes from. You can identify it as a part of something other than just random, ooh. I mean, so that's why I said that.
What's the best outlet right now that you can think of to learn this history, this backstory, as it were? Because it's not as readily accessible as like turning on the TV and seeing a TV show.
Google. You can Google anything. Everything I just told you, you can find online. Just about. I mean, you quoted a video that I did online. So Google it. I mean, anything that you want to find out, that's the greatest thing about this time technologically. You have access to the world. So if you want to find out about the dance, about a person in the dance, Google them. You can find them. If it's not on Wikipedia, which a lot of the stuff on Wikipedia is ridiculous anyway, but it's there, it's a start. And they give you references and sources to check. The one thing that people need to do is do not be lazy. Do not sit and wait to be told. If you're interested in it, Google it, find out about it, search it, Bing it. You know, you don't have to use Google. Use a different search engine, but get online and start that search. Start the path that you're on to find out what you need to know. It's very easy now. If I want to find out about locking, I can go to lockersdance.com. It's the entire history of the lockers, the original lockers, you know, their video, their background, their story, and it's theirs. And then that will lead you to other places and other people. If I want to find out about popping, I can, you know, check out the Electric Boogaloos. If I want to find out about pre-popping, like strutting, boogaloo and roboting, I can go to BRS website. You know, I want to find out about b-boying. There's tons of outlets about hip-hop, about house, about whacking, about anything. If I want to find out about Baryshnikov and ballet in Russia, I can Google it. So you have to actually put the technology to work and not be afraid of it. A lot of people are like, that's too much. No, that's laziness. You know, anything that you want to learn, you have to actually put the time in to learn. So
I personally feel like that's kind of a double-edged sword, though, because I've seen the resurgence of e-dancers or couch dancers who claim to know about dance simply because they've either read up on it a little bit or they've seen things on TV or they've watched a YouTube video, etc., etc.
But again, that goes back with the yin and the yang. Those people, and I argue with them online all the time, they're good at intellectualizing the dance, but dance isn't to be thought of. It's to be done. It's a physical thing, you know. It's a noun, but it's a verb also. It's to be done. So we can sit, talk, we can do pie charts on the history of dance, but eventually you have to actually do it. It's just like sports reporters. They can talk about the game all day. Do they actually play the game? Are you going to listen to a reporter for USA Today, or are you going to listen to Tom Brady talk about football? I'm listening to Tom Brady. He has 3 rings. He actually played the game. The guys in USA Today, they can debate, and that's great, but do you get on the field? No. It's just like a fight. Anybody is good at talking a good fight. A fight doesn't happen until, everybody's good until they get hit. So you have to get hit. You can train and train and train until you get out there and fight. You're nothing. Anybody can give you a black belt, a brown belt, and tell you you're really good. When you get in there and you get socked in the mouth, then what do you do? So that's the analogy that I use with the what I call binary b-boys. They're digital dancers. I'm like, that's great, but I live in the real world, and here in this video, I'm in France. These are the French dancers. These are the Japanese. These are the Koreans. And these are the Swedish dancers. And these are the Russians. And the Russians are getting really good. You wouldn't know that because you watch them on YouTube. But I see them live. And I put their videos on YouTube for you to watch. So there's no debate.
Do you have any messages and advice for past, current, and future generations of dancers?
Messages. The biggest message to me is, I'll quote, as I always do, my favorite quote of all time. Bruce Lee, don't think, feel. Or you miss all the heavenly glory. No. So, that's what gets lost. We can think about dance, but you're supposed to feel it. It's supposed to become a part of your person. It's an act. It's the act of doing it. That's the best part of it. It's, to use an even better analogy, you can think about sex, but until you have sex, it's not the same thing. Okay, it's totally different thinking about kissing a woman or a man and actually doing it. It's 2 different things. So, don't think about it, do it. Don't think, feel. Don't think about music, listen to it, feel it, absorb it, channel it. Don't think about life, be a part of life. As Bruce would say, water can crash, water can flow, water adapts, you can put it in a bottle, it becomes the bottle, you put it in a cup, it becomes the cup. You roll it down, it can crash, but it can also soothe. Water can kill, and it can also grow. Be water, my friend. I love Bruce Lee.
One last thing. What do you think of because hip-hop originated on the East Coast, what do you think of the East Coast dance community as you see it today?
I think the East Coast is pretty, I think it's pretty good. The one thing that I think that gets lost in translation is that what happened on the East Coast happened on the West Coast. They just called it something else. They called it, as Pete calls it now, funk styles. But their culture and our culture are very different, but they're very similar. And we have a similar way of doing things. It's just that on our side of the pond, it gets cold. And we have subways and stuff like that. On their side of the pond, it's always sunny, and they have to drive everywhere. So that's those are the 2 different catalysts for how things go. But I think the communities now on the East Coast and the West Coast are starting to realize that we're one and not East Coast, West Coast, but, dance community, street community. It's slowly becoming, one thing instead of this separation.